Hello students, in our previous class we have seen what is Hall effect and the derivation for Hall coefficient, and today we are going to realize the Hall effect through Hall experiment. That means especially we are going to understand what is the importance of this Hall experiment, or in other words, what are the applications of Hall effect. Before going to start the applications of Hall effect, let us try to understand the Hall experiment and how do we determine the Hall coefficient. And we have seen in Hall effect that if you consider a semiconductor block as shown here, and let us consider some current I is passing along x-axis through this particular semiconductor block, and simultaneously we have applied the magnetic field. Because of this magnetic field, the charged particles will be deflected by the force called Lorentz force. As a result of it, in this particular case, electrons will be deflected towards the front face, whereas the positively charged particles will be deflected towards the rear face. As a result of it, there will be a creation of electric field which is known as Hall field, and we can actually measure the Hall voltage along this particular electric field direction. That means along z axis. So in our Hall experiment, we are actually going to take the consideration of the geometrical parameters of the semiconductor block. For example, if you consider the breadth of the semiconductor block is B, whereas T represents the thickness of this particular semiconductor block. And let us try to take the expression for Hall coefficient from our previous class. That is, we have proved the Hall effect or the Hall field as EH is equal to RH into Jx into By, where EH represents the Hall electric field, RH represents the Hall coefficient, Jx represents the current density, whereas By represents the magnetic field applied. From this expression, we can write down the expression for Hall coefficient, that is RH is equal to EH by Jx into By. In this particular expression, we can understand that EH is nothing but the electric field which can not be measured directly. Instead, we can measure the potential or the voltage. That means we need to convert this electric field into potential, that is Hall potential. Similarly, current density also we cannot measure directly, we can measure only the current. So current density means current per unit area. That means we can actually convert this current density also into current and area. That means first we are going to convert the electric field, Hall electric field, into Hall potential by using the standard expression for potential, that is potential is equal to electric field into the distance. Here Hall field and separation between the charges. That is nothing but Hall potential, from which we can actually determine the value of Hall electric field, which is given by VH by B. Now VH is nothing but the Hall potential, which can be directly measured by using the instruments, and B, which is nothing but the breadth of the sample, can also be measured. So we can actually calculate the value of Hall electric field from the measured values of Hall potential and breadth of the semiconductor block. On the other hand, we can also calculate the value of current density by measuring the current flowing through the block and the area through which the current is flowing. For example, in our case, the area represents breadth into thickness, because if you try to remember the figure, it will be like this. If you see, for example, this is nothing but the cross section of the block through which current I is actually flowing. This is I current, and we have considered from here to here as B and from here to here as T. That means if you take area which consists of, this is nothing but total area. So this area is given by B into T. This is nothing but the cross sectional area through which current is actually flowing. This is actually our semiconductor block that we have considered. This is the semiconductor block that we have considered, and this is the x-axis. So this is nothing but our area through which current is flowing. So the current density can be given as current per unit area, current Ix by B into T, because B and T represents breadth and thickness of the semiconductor block respectively through which the current is flowing. Now we can measure the value of current which is flowing through the block, and we can also measure the area of the block. So we can now calculate the value of current density from measured values of current and the area of the block. Now let us consider these are the two equations, equation number 2 and equation number 3. Now let us substitute this equation number 2 and 3 in equation number 1, so that what we will get is what you can get is you can actually get the value of Hall coefficient. That means I just substituted value of EH in terms of measured quantities, that is VH and B. Similarly, I substituted the value of current density in terms of measured quantities, that is Ix into area. Now which is can also be written as RH is equal to VH into T by Ix into By, because here BB gets cancelled. So this is the final expression for Hall coefficient in our Hall experiment. That means here in this expression, if you see, all the values can be measured. VH, Hall potential, which can be measured in the experiment. T, thickness of the block, can also be measured. Ix, the current flowing through the block, which can also be measured. By, the applied magnetic field, which can also be measured. That means now in RHS everything can be measured, so that we can actually calculate the value of Hall coefficient in this particular Hall experiment. This is how we can actually measure the Hall coefficient by measuring Hall voltage, the thickness of the block, current flowing through the block, and the magnetic field applied. So this is the basic expression for Hall coefficient in our experiment. Now let us try to understand what is the need to measure this Hall coefficient, or in other words, what are the applications that we can get by measuring this particular value of Hall coefficient. Let us try to understand one by one the Hall effect applications, the applications of Hall effect. For example, in this particular case, we can also, first application is the carrier concentration can be measured by doing this experiment. We just now understood that by doing this Hall experiment, we can actually measure the value of Hall coefficient. From the Hall coefficient, we have seen in our previous class that RH is equal to 1 by Ne. N represents the electron concentration in the semiconductor, which can be determined by substituting the value of RH, that is Hall coefficient, that just now we have measured. That means if you know the value of Hall coefficient for a given semiconductor from Hall experiment, then one can actually determine the value of electron density in that particular semiconductor. This is the first application. What is the first application of this Hall experiment is the electron concentration can be measured. And the second application, if you see, just that can be understood by just rewriting the previous expression, that if you write down the expression for Vy, that is the magnetic field, which is nothing but Vh into T by Ix into RH. That means Vh is nothing but the Hall voltage that is measured, T is the thickness of the block, Ix is the current flowing through the semiconductor, and Rh is nothing but the Hall coefficient of the particular semiconductor that we are using. That means we are taking a semiconductor block for which we already know the value of Hall coefficient, and we are trying to measure the magnetic field that is applied. That means what? These semiconductors can also be used as magnetic field sensors. These are also known as Hall sensors. So by knowing the value of Hall coefficient, one can utilize or one can calibrate the semiconductor for measuring the magnetic field. This is very important application of semiconductors and the Hall effect. The third most important application is one can actually determine the property of the semiconductor, which is known as mobility of the charge carriers within the semiconductors, which is the very important property to understand the device properties of a semiconductor. So what is the property? Mobility of the charged carriers within the semiconductors. What do you mean by mobility? Mobility means the average velocity of the charged particles within the applied electric fields. That means if you take a semiconductor block and apply some external electric field and try to measure the average velocity of the charged particle that are present in the semiconductor. So the average velocity gained by the charged particles within the applied external electric field is known as mobility, which is very important characteristics of the semiconductor and very important parameter for understanding the device application of a given semiconductor material. So which is nothing but velocity by electric field. From this we can write down velocity V is equal to mu, the mobility, and into mobility into the electric field. Now if you see from our previous classes, we know the relation between the current density and velocity, that is J is equal to NeV. Now substitute the value of V from the definition of mobility. What we can get is, we can actually get J is equal to Ne into mu J, which can be rewritten as Ne mu into electric field. That means what? Jx is equal to Ne mu into E. If you take any particular semiconductor, N value is constant. Anyway, the value of E, that is charge of the electron, is constant, and the mobility is also constant for a given semiconductor at a given temperature. That is very important. That means for a given semiconductor at a particular temperature, the value of Ne mu are constant. So I am representing this product Ne mu with a constant which is known as sigma, which is actually called as the conductivity of the semiconductor. That means if you know the mobility value and Ne, what do you mean by Ne actually? Ne is nothing but 1 by Rh. We already know the relation between the Hall coefficient and Ne. Rh is equal to 1 by Ne. That means Ne is equal to 1 by Rh. That means if you know the value of Hall coefficient and the conductivity of the given semiconductor, you can actually measure the mobility of the semiconductor. Mobility of the semiconductor, which is nothing but mu is equal to sigma into Rh, which is nothing but Rh by rho. So from this what we can understand is, rho means here the resistivity of the semiconductor. Resistivity and conductivity both are inversely proportional to each other. That's why I have written the expression for mobility in terms of both the conductivity as well as resistivity. That means if the mobility, if you want to calculate the mobility of a given semiconductor, you need to know the value of either conductivity or resistivity of the semiconductor along with the Hall coefficient value. Then actually you can measure the value of mobility. So by determining the value of Hall coefficient in our Hall experiment and knowing the value of conductivity of the semiconductor, we can actually measure the Hall mobility. This is also known as Hall mobility, or we can also simply call it as mobility of the charged particles within the semiconductors can also be determined. So what are the three important applications of Hall coefficient or Hall experiment. First thing is we can determine the carrier concentration, and second thing is we can determine the magnetic field, and third one we can also determine the very important property of the semiconductor, that is mobility. The charged mobility of the charged particles within the semiconductor can also be determined. So these are the important applications of Hall effect or Hall experiments or the Hall coefficients. Thank you.